This was the urban legend that teenagers, after they'd trespassed in Gold Memorial Gardens, had spread around town for more than 3 decades. They claimed to have seen the ghost of the gravedigger. Before the business had had the money to invest in specialized equipment like the small backhoe, a man dug, by hand, most of the graves in the cemetery. Even many years after the machinery had been purchased and the business had flourished, the man had insisted on continuing to dig the graves by hand, making them perfect for the caskets that would be lowered into them the next day. That man, Lyle McGinty, had died more than 30 years ago, but those teenagers swore they saw that lantern light moving through the cemetery at night, and that they could hear him digging graves, the blade of his shovel hitting rocks and stones. So when Gregory saw that light and heard that scraping sound, he knew those kids hadn't been lying, and he knew what it meant. The gravedigger was digging his grave. "You need to come home." Ever since River Gold ran away 16 years ago, her mother told her this every time they spoke, either over the phone or on the rare occasions when Fiona Gold had pried herself away from Gold Memorial Gardens and funeral services. But River couldn't ignore the statement like she usually did because there was something new in her mother's voice as it cracked through the cell speaker with an urgency she'd never heard before. Then the tears came. While her mother had pleaded and cajoled in the past, she had never cried like this before. "Mom, what's wrong?" River asked, her own voice cracking a bit to hear her always optimistic mother so upset. "Are you okay?" "It's not me," Fiona said. "I'm fine, but you're—" "My what?" Everyone else River cared about was in the house with her. This house was nothing like the one where River had grown up. This one was bright and full of light, with white walls and whitewashed floors, and even the vaulted wood ceiling was painted white. But that brightness wasn't everywhere, and that was where the other people she loved were. Her daughter was in her room, with its black walls, probably brooding over something, and her grandmother was in her room, with its burgundy walls, probably brooding over something. Neither of them was anything like River's mother, who was always upbeat and happy even when she shouldn't be. Until now. "Mom," River prompted Fiona, "tell me what's going on." And stop crying. The sobs were making River's eyes tear up and had a heaviness weighing on her heart. "Please." "Your father—" Fiona finally got out the words like she was gasping them between sobs. "He's dead, my darling. I'm so sorry." "My father," River whispered. She had never been certain who her father was, but she knew the man her mother claimed was her father. Gregory Gold the First. She'd just never felt any particular emotional connection with him, even though, for the first 17 years of her life, she and her mother had lived with him in his house by the cemetery. But once River ran away, she'd vowed to never go back to that creepy place. Gold Memorial Gardens and Funeral Services, specifically its first location in Gold Creek, Michigan, a wealthy enclave of vast estates just minutes from the Lake Michigan shoreline, was where River had grown up. But there was no view of the crystal blue lake or the sandy shore and dunes at that huge mausoleum of a home. The brick and stone building had parlors, showing rooms, and offices on the main level, its living quarters on the second and third floors, and, in the basement, the embalming rooms and crematorium. And the only view, if the heavy drapes were pulled open over the many windows, was of the memorial gardens that surrounded it. While there were flowers and trees, there were also all those headstones and monuments and statues, mausoleums and fountains. The cemetery wasn't a garden any more than the funeral parlor was a home. It was a house of death. But the one person River had never expected to die was Gregory Gold the First.